Mom, can I get heat? Sweetheart, we have heat at home. There's a whole generation of men who grew up on Heat, and for a time made it their entire personality. And I may or may not have been one of those. So whenever an LA crime film comes out, well, it can't help but be compared to Heat. And the new Chris Hemsworth action vehicle Crime 101 has a lot of Heat DNA, but just enough to separate it. So how does Crime 101 stand on its own 2 feet? Chris Hemsworth plays a master thief who pulls off risky jewel heists. But he has a code: no violence, no killing, and always do the job along the 101 freeway. A hard-boiled detective played by Mark Ruffalo notices this pattern, and he makes it his mission to find him and take him down. But things get complicated when Hemsworth plots his next big score, which could be his last. He needs the help of an insurance broker played by Halle Berry, a woman disillusioned by her corporate firm who wants the nest egg she thinks she deserves. And of course there's also the wild card played by Barry Keoghan, himself a thief who's tracking Hemsworth and hoping to pick off his score. Soon all these characters will converge, and some of them might not make it out alive. Let me get this out of the way. Crime 101 is no Heat. But that's not to say it doesn't have its own style and charms. Director Bart Layton makes a conscious choice to keep this a modern LA noir. So that means it's the LA of wellness, health, of status and stature. Hemsworth's thief is another in a long line of strong silent type criminals. He might drive nice cars, wear nice clothes, and have a nice pad on the beach, but he lives a lonely existence. Likewise, Ruffalo, as the cop on his tail, is going through a separation. He drives the same old car he's had for 20 years. He exchanges banter with his younger partner. He's every cop cliche you can think of. But Ruffalo's scruffiness comes into play here. As the film goes on and Ruffalo gets closer and closer to nabbing his man, well, he actually starts improving his life. Quitting smoking, starting yoga. It's an interesting wrinkle in these types of characters who usually never change. They start grizzled and stay grizzled. And then we have the Halle Berry character who may be 53 years old, but in her firm, she's well past her prime. She's not closing the deals she used to. And it's her frustration in a male-dominated workplace that makes her a player in this heist at the end. All these specific details add just a few shades more than we usually get in these cops and robbers films. This is the type of movie where everyone's playing towards type, but the direction and some of the writing helps them feel a little more fleshed out. Especially in the case of Barry Keoghan's character, the wild-card motorcycle rider who kind of haunts Chris Hemsworth throughout the film. We essentially don't know anything about him, besides his creepy stare and his nervy energy. And when you have an actor like Barry Keoghan who's so adept at using his physicality, i.e. his smallness and his scrappiness, to his advantage, it makes the character just a little more interesting. By now I might sound like I'm damning this with faint praise, but one thing the movie does have going for it is it's actually shot in LA. Yes, I know, the movie mecca that for years and years was the site of so many countless classic movies has now had a drought of Hollywood productions filming there. That might be the best thing it has going for it, and the thing most similar to Heat. So when you have cool car chases like where Hemsworth chases after Barry Keoghan on his motorbike, and they're dodging and weaving through real locations, well, it makes it a lot more enjoyable than, say, shooting in Atlanta and trying to pass it off as LA. Because LA, as we know, is a great city for crime and noir movies. It's a lonely city. This is a city where people can collide. And the movie, to its credit, in getting all these characters to converge, is less contrived than you would think. In fact, by the end, it's kind of downright clever how it gets Chris Hemsworth and Mark Ruffalo to inadvertently face off with each other. Their star power, along with Halle Berry, is the glue that keeps this thing together because Bart Layton is actually pretty good at tension and suspense and those action scenes. You can tell this was his shot not to make a Heat ripoff, but to make a love letter to those crime and noir films that he obviously adores. So the car chases have a little bit of that bullet intensity. The confrontations have a little bit of that edge, like a Michael Mann movie. And the end has a lot more tension than you would expect. But ultimately, this is a gets the job done movie. Because everyone here playing their parts well, they get the job done. Because the crisp action here, it gets the job done. Because even though this is 2 hours and 20 minutes, you feel like you got a full meal. Like you weren't ripped off and got diet heat. This will probably end up on Amazon in a few months sooner than later, but where this movie really needs to premiere is on cable. It's a perfect cable type of movie, where you're scrolling through channels, you stop on that car chase, and you decide to watch the rest of the movie. And I think with so many movies these days that overthink their premises, it is nice to see a movie that just gets the job done. Crime 101 is no Heat, but it has glossy stars, gritty action, and noir vibes for days. I give it a respectable 3.5 stars out of 5. If you like this review, please like and subscribe or follow me on Letterboxd at RamirezS316. Yes, this is my 4K Steelbook of Heat. And yes, it is one of my most prized possessions. And no, you cannot borrow it.